Hello everyone, and welcome to another Arthritis Help Movement Improvement session where you learn to move differently so you can feel better. I'm Dr. David Soper, physical therapist, and today we're going to be talking about loosening up the neck in rotation, turning your head a little bit freer and easier. And most people tend to think that when they have a stiff neck, it's because their neck is not moving enough, but usually that is not the case. It's usually that the neck is doing the only thing that's moving and the rest of the body isn't moving enough. So by forcing the neck to move further, we're actually just pushing further into the restriction. Today we're going to learn ways to loosen up the rest of the body, allow the rest of the body to move with head rotation so that the head can turn a little bit easier, so you'll have an easier time, looking around or driving or anything that you need to use rotation for. So for this session, it's going to be done completely lying on your back. You just might need a pillow for some support for your head, but if you don't need one, you can just lie flat, up to you, whatever makes you comfortable. Okay, so let's get started. Lie down on your back. All right, so we're just going to take a moment and lie down on our backs and feel ourselves connect with the surface. Feel that connection to the floor. Feel how your head rests heavily and comfortably into the surface. Feel the ability of your chest and shoulders to fall back and open. Allow your body to sink into the floor. Relax your breath. Ease the tension. Feel the muscles turn off, and just letting yourself be your heaviest self, your most at peace position. Search for any areas of tension or pain. If this is uncomfortable, pillow underneath the head or pillow underneath the knees will usually make you feel a little bit better. Then all we're going to do is simply let your head roll to the right and back to center, and roll to the right again and back to center, and get a sense of what you feel. Obviously, you can probably feel the surface of the floor go from the back of your head to the right side of your head. But you want to sense, do you feel any movement in the rest of your body? Do you feel how when you turn your head that you weight your right chest or shoulder blade or upper back a little bit more into the surface? Do you feel a little bit more weight move into the right ribs or right pelvis? Do you feel anything other than turning? Do you feel that your head looks up or looks down, or is it straight off to the side? And just get a sense for the general ease of the movement, and you can even just turn your head and see, without forcing, whatever your natural endpoint is, and just get a sense of how far you can look, right? Not as far as you can push, but wherever that endpoint is, just kind of mark something in the area, and that's where your gaze is naturally. And we'll come back to center. And then we'll do the same thing to the left and find that first point of resistance and come back. And just notice, does the body turn into that left shoulder blade, left ribs, left pelvis, and then come back. And wherever your natural endpoint is, notice, do you look up or look down? And then feel, what can you look at, and just make that just a marking point, just a diagnostic point to see that's where your gaze lands, that's where your gaze ends. Perfect. And then come back to center. Great. And everybody's going to rest their hands right on their lower ribs. And all I want you to think about is shrugging your right shoulder and sliding your right elbow up and back down. So we're just going to do a little slide up and back down. Just a little shrug. Again, just to where it's easy. Moving smoothly, making sure that hopefully you're on a smooth surface, frictionless surface where you can move without effort. Very good. And relax. Okay, now at the same time, now we're going to do the same thing on the left and just feel how that left comes up and down, and the left comes up and down, and feel, does it feel just as smooth? Does it feel just as simple? Does it feel just as easy to elevate or shrug the left shoulder or slide that left elbow up as it does the right, or does one move a little easier than the other? Just get a sense of how they slide. Very good. Okay, so now we're going to turn the head to the right, and at the same time, we're going to lift that or shrug that left shoulder a little bit. So we're just going to put those two things together and feel that you're shrugging or elevating the left shoulder as you let the head turn to the right. And I want you to get a sense of whether allowing that shoulder to shrug allows your head to easily, more comfortably turn in a direction. Does it free your gaze to go a little bit further than it did initially? And we're just trying to put these two movements together so they feel smooth and harmonious. We're not kind of juggling two things, but it should feel like one movement that almost the turn of the head almost pulls the shoulder up and relax. And at the same time, we're going to think about taking the opposite shoulder and letting it drop down. So hands are on the ribs, and we're looking to the right, and the left shoulder rides up, and the right shoulder drops down a little bit. And we come back. And we turn, and we feel that nice, easy turn. And so now it's not just becoming a raise of the left shoulder, but as you turn your head, you're going to feel that your entire shoulder complex tilts a little bit in the direction that you turn. And just feel for how easy it is to tilt into that direction. Take it slow, take it smooth. If you hit a point of resistance, then you stop and come back. And you just explore it, and then you come back. You don't push through. And the goal is to try to make movements easier and smoother as we turn. Very nice. Good. As you're moving, I want you to notice your ribs. And as you allow the head to turn to the right and you feel that left shoulder elevate, the right one depress, I want you to feel how your left ribs start to expand and your right ribs start to contract. And then come back. Left ribs open up and they get wider or further apart. Right ribs kind of compress and come together. And then come back. And so let's do this. Let's let the head turn and let that turn lead into that tilt of the shoulders and feel that there's that compression on the right and that expansion on the left. And don't force it, just notice it. Just see that it's already happening if you can allow it to happen. If you force it to move, it's not going to do you any favors. It's only going to create pain or discomfort. And remember, you don't want to move yourself into pain. Rule number one, always be kind to yourself. Always, okay? Self-care, being kind. So we're turning and moving those shoulders. Beautiful. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to bend both knees. So you're standing your feet, and you're going to do the same thing and feel that with the knees bent, it might feel a little bit easier to turn the head and tilt the shoulder and open those ribs. And feel that the right ribs move down toward the right pelvis and the left ribs come away from the left pelvis as you turn. Nice and slow. Good. Keeping it smooth and allowing the gaze to just fall off to the side as you rest. Good. Make sure that you're not moving in continuous movements, that as you turn, you take a moment to pause at the end, and then as you return, you take a moment to relax so that way you can reinitiate. We don't want continuous movement, we want smooth, but we always want to turn off everything and then turn it off again. Disengagement allows you to practice re-engagement, and re-engaging movement is the whole purpose of this exercise. So turn, and then we come back. Excellent. Okay, so now you're just going to lie flat, rest, take a moment, and now just let your head fall to the right and see if your head falls any further. Can you see, is your natural point of your gaze somewhere a little bit lower than it was before? Were you looking a little higher on the wall or to the ceiling, and now a little bit lower? And come on back. Notice when you look to the right, do you feel a little bit more weight drop into the right shoulder or right lower back or right pelvis as you come through? See if it's just a little easier to turn your head. Good. And relax. Take a rest. All right, now we're going to lift the left hand into the air. You're going to reach up, and you're just going to allow your left hand to touch your right shoulder wherever it's comfortable. If you can grab. If you can rest. If it's just fingertips, that's okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to keep contact with your right shoulder, and you're going to lift your left elbow up towards the ceiling and allow the hand to come down, and feel that you're taking your left shoulder blade a little bit off of the floor, and the right shoulder blade is moving a little bit down into the floor. Nice and slow, and just see how easy is it to lift the left shoulder up and put the right shoulder down. And you might notice that your head wants to turn in with that a little bit too. Don't fight, don't work hard, just see. And it's going to be a more subtle, smaller movement. Just see if you could just put a little bit more weight into the right shoulder blade than into the left. Unweight the left and weight the right. Good. And then instead of touching the shoulder, we're going to take the back of the hand and rest it on your right cheek. So left hand resting on your right cheek. And what you're going to do is you're going to actually turn your head, turn the cheek into the back of the hand, and feel how at the same time you can allow your left elbow to come up toward the ceiling as the left hand reaches down toward the table. And we're going to feel that that helps to unweight the left shoulder and weigh down the right. And so just resting the hand on the cheek and turn the head to guide the hand to lift the elbow, to feel your torso turn to the right. A few times just feeling that nice, easy, rocking movement, feeling the torso going from side to side, seeing how easily we can shift our foundation from the center of the spine to the right spine, or the ribs on that right side. Good. And letting your head drive the movement and help to move the arm. And take a moment and relax. Okay, now we're going to combine the two things that we did together. So we're going to stand the feet up, bend the knees. We're going to think about that shoulder tilt. We're going to lift the hand, reach the elbow up to the ceiling, let the back of the hand rest on the opposite cheek, and then as we turn the head, it's going to move the hand, lift the elbow, and tilt the shoulders so that you're compressing the right ribs and opening the left ribs. And then come back. Nice and easy, turning and feeling that right shoulder tilt. The right shoulder drop down, the left shoulder rise up. And feel that the weight is coming off of the left shoulder blade and down onto the right shoulder blade. And as you turn your head, your gaze might look a little bit down towards your feet rather than up overhead. So it might be a little bit of a nod downwards as you go. Nice and slow, nice and smooth. Seeing, can we put together all these different movements? So the head turns, it pulls the hand, it helps to elevate the elbow, which lifts the shoulder. Shrug that left shoulder, drop the right, and come back. Seeing if we can create a bit of a C shape in the spine as we lift that left shoulder up. Good, and relax. And feel that there are a lot of things moving at once in that movement. That might have been a little bit challenging. So we're just going to add one more piece to make it a little simpler. We're going to bend the knees again. We're going to do everything the same. Raise the left arm to the ceiling, back of the hand resting on the right cheek. And as we turn, we're going to let the knees fall a little bit to the right as we go through the entire movement. So we're going to let the head guide the hand, let the shoulder shrug or looking down, and let the knees fall so that everything kind of moves slowly and smoothly together towards this right side. So everything on this right side is kind of getting attracted to itself and compressing, and everything on the left side is getting open and pulled away. At the same time, your foundation is moving from the center of your body onto the right side of your body. You feel that whole left side and ribs unweight, and you feel the entire right side get a little bit weighted. Make sure that you're not pushing, you're not straining, you're letting muscles relax into this movement. If you're really ambitious and you force, you might feel a little bit of muscle spasm or a little bit of tension. And relax, let everything go, rest. And in between, if you need to rest, go at your pace, do what works for you. Don't go at my pace. And we're just going to relax and let that head, again, fall to the right and see if the head moves any smoother. As you go to the right, can you look a little further? Do you feel a little bit of weight shift into the right shoulder blade? Do you feel the right ribs start to take a little bit more of the weight of the body and unload the left? Can you feel the right abdomen kind of fall down and compress into the table? Can you feel the right ribs come a little closer together and the left ribs open up? Very nice. Well done. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing going to the left. So remember, we're just going to first just tilt the head to the left and see where their natural end point is, see where your gaze looks off to. And then we're going to come back. And then we're going to just think about taking the left shoulder and just shrugging it up and down and up and down. Nice and easy. And then the left shoulder, then the right shoulder up and down and up and down. And then we're going to let that upward slide or that shrug of the right shoulder lead you into a left head turn. And you're going to feel how just the act of shrugging the right shoulder and sliding that right elbow up can just let the head almost fall. It almost releases the head to fall down to the right, to the left. So we elevate the right shoulder and the head falls off to the left. And start to notice as that right shoulder rises, the left shoulder will begin to fall. So it's not just an isolated shoulder movement. The shoulders are actually connected through the center, and that as one tips up, the other tips down, allowing the head to turn and to look a little bit downward toward the toes. And then come back. And feel a nice, smooth, easy movement, not forced, and taking your time to rest at the one end and then rest at the other. So we move into the movement and take a pause, and then move out of it and take a pause. Good. And notice that your gaze might be a little bit lower down than it was before. And relax, good. Take a moment. And just feel, you can recheck in here, and just feel if the head feels any lower and the neck feels any lower to the surface, if the chest feels any more expanded, if you feel a little bit more connected to the floor, if the body's a little bit more relaxed. So while we're resting, we can even just take time to still be introspective and think about how our bodies are connecting with the surface. Great. We're going to stand the feet up, bend the knees, and we're going to combine everything again, hands resting on the ribs, and feel the right shoulder lifts and the left shoulder drops and the head turns. And with the knees bent, you're able to feel a little bit more movement through these ribs and feel how the left ribs want to compress into each other and the right ribs become expansive. And then we rotate away. And feel those left ribs compress and the right ribs open. And notice that your body starts to create this C curve where we have this curve from here all the way around to there. And so we're looking into the C. And we come back. Good. Nice and slow, nice and smooth, not fighting, not forcing. Feeling that right shoulder lift, the left shoulder drop, the left ribs compress, the right ribs open, and the head just falls off to the left. Good. And relax. Straighten out the legs. Take a moment, and again, just recheck. Let the head fall to the left, and see where is your gaze now, right? And is it a little bit lower? Is it a little bit simpler? Is it a little bit easier to move the head to the left than it was before. Good. Now we're going to add the hand component. We're going to reach the right hand up into the air. You're going to let the back of that hand rest on your left cheek. Well, I'm sorry, first we're going to start on the shoulder. I jumped the gun a little bit there. And we're going to elevate the right elbow and let the hand stay in contact with the shoulder as you come back. So the elbow strives up for the ceiling, but the hand stays down. The hand doesn't come up with it. And so that's going to create a rotation, and you're going to feel how you could unweight the right shoulder blade and weight down the left shoulder blade at the same time. This is an ability to turn the upper torso, which is super important to be able to turn the neck. Because very commonly people move just from the neck and they don't get that upper torso involved. Don't move into pain, don't strain, don't fight your breath. Nice and easy. Very good. And you might just notice, is this side easier to roll into than the other side, or is there a little more challenge? See if it's symmetrical or if it's a little bit different. Okay, relax. Now we're going to raise that hand up. Instead of going to the shoulder, we're going to put the back of the hand on your left cheek. And what you're going to do is you're going to allow yourself to turn your head into the hand, which is going to guide the hand down toward the table and bring your elbow up toward the ceiling a little bit. And you're going to feel that when you do that, it helps you to find your way down into this left shoulder blade and helps you to elevate the right shoulder blade, but not because you're forcing your head into your hand or you're dragging that hand along. It just helps to connect the body as being one piece, so that way you have a more integrated movement strategy and you're less likely to move from just one place, force all the movement to come from one set of tissues. Good. And feel that easy smoothness to the movement. Feel that turning of the torso. Feel the shoulder blades turning or lifting and lowering. Feel that the left becomes a base, a foundation that you can move from. And relax. Take a breath. Okay. We're going to do that same thing again. We're going to combine it with the shoulder tilt that we had done originally. So let's bend both knees. Raise the right arm. Let the back of your hand rest on that left cheek. You can keep your left hand on the lower ribs. And I want you to feel that you're turning your head into your hand. You're feeling the elbow rise. You're feeling the right shoulder blade lift, the left shoulder blade drop. And at the same time, the left shoulder is depressing and the left ribs are depressing and the right ribs are expanding. Good. And then come back. And again, feeling all of that happen. And then come back. And see, there's a lot of movements there. And if we think about each movement individually, it becomes overwhelming. Turn my head, lift my shoulder, tilt my ribs, push, and it becomes discontinuous. It becomes like a puzzle where none of the pieces really fit together. But if we can feel the harmony, that one movement leads into the next, and that leads into the next, that they just kind of, they're all part of the same system, and we don't force and we don't try too hard, the movements all kind of come together. And that's when it starts to become smooth and become integrated and become simpler and less painful and more fluid. And that's where freedom of movement comes from. So make sure that you're not pushing or striving to make all of these things happen, but you're trying to find the connective thread between the movement that allows all of these pieces to come together, and that if you add one or if you take away attention somewhere, it will free you up to move even simpler. Good. All right, now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to let the knees fall to the left as we look to the left. So we're going to come to the left, good, and come back, and let it fall, and come back, good. Feeling that everything is kind of compressing into this left side and expanding on the right. And then take it slow as you return. And take it really as slowly as you can, as slowly as you want. If you want to explore something, take your time to explore it. Don't move the same as me. Move what feels interesting for you. Move in a way, if you get to a point and you feel a little stuck, stop, rest, and just work in that one little piece, in that one little area. And think, what is going on here? What is making this a stopping point for me? And just do that tiny bit and then come back and then go through maybe the whole movement again. But be curious, be interested in your movement patterns and take time to explore the subtle nuances that are unique to you, because you move differently than anybody else on this planet. So you need to find your own way. You have to find your own path into this smooth, free, happy movement. Okay, relax, lie flat. Feel the breadth of your shoulders. Feel that connection to the floor. Feel how heavy, feel how supported you feel by the surface that you're on. Allow your head to fall to the left and just feel how fluid and how effortless it starts to just fall down to the side. Take notice of your gaze point. Is it lower down than it was before? How are you able to move without trying harder, with the same effort? Can you get more? Getting more for the same effort is wonderful. I'm a bargain shopper. I like to get more for less. Okay, very nice. You can continue enjoying this position. You can continue exploring, or if you'd like, you can roll onto your side and sit up. You can have a seat in a chair, or you can stand, whatever's most comfortable for you where you are right now. And just take a moment to feel the alignment of your head over your shoulders, over your torso, over your sit bones, over your pelvis. Feel the breadth of your body. Feel that when you turn your head, that your body begins to turn with. When you turn the head the other way. And when the body is able to turn, the head can turn more easily, and we take away all of those tensions and stiffness that maybe limit us. Excellent. I hope you enjoyed that session. I really did. That one always makes me feel a little bit lighter and a little bit happier, to be quite honest. And thank you so much for joining me this week. And thank yourselves for taking the time and making the effort to do what will make you feel better. It is not easy. Not everyone will do it, but you did. And so remember that. I will be back with you next week with a whole new video teaching you how to move a little bit differently so you can feel better. You can see all of my videos on my website, www.arthritishelp.info, just like you see somewhere here on the screen. All right? Take care, everyone. I'll see you next week.